All right, guys. So we are moving on into our next chapter today, which we're going to start talking about taxes. Okay, so hopefully by the end of this, when it comes time for taxes, you guys will be able to file your own. Yay. They changed all the tax laws last year, which actually simplified a lot, made it a lot easier. It's not as hard as it used to be to file taxes. So I would, because I file my own every year. Got it a lot easier. So who pays taxes? We do? Everyone does. Yeah, everybody. Yep, everybody pays taxes. So think about taxes. I know we all get mad about having to pay taxes, but do you know why you pay them? No, no, no. That is not why you pay taxes. It's what, no. Taxes is not so you can retire. Your city, your state, your federal governments. You're talking about your police, your firefighters, military, national security, health research, all those government programs, that's funded by taxpayer dollars. Okay, so you're paying taxes, guys, which I know taxes suck and they take a huge chunk of your money, but it's not like it's just going into some, very wealthy person's pocket. Okay, it is being used to pay for your police, your fire departments, your government, like everything that helps us run as a country. All right, but there are different types of taxes. Okay, so what type of tax is collected based on the value of the property you own? That is property taxes. So if you are renting an apartment, do you pay property taxes? No. Okay, now like I own my own home. Well, we're paying for it through the bank, right? I have a mortgage for it. But I pay property taxes every year because that's my property. All right, what about collected based on the value of the items you purchase? Sales tax. All right, sales tax, every time you guys go to the store and you buy something, of course, they're going to add on tax. And collected based on the amount of taxable income you earn. Income taxes. Yeah, you get taxed all over the place. You may need to contact them. You did. Contact them. All right, so different types of taxes. Who collects taxes? Which part of the government? It's the IRS, which is the Internal Revenue Service. Revenue is money. Okay. What's the deadline for filing taxes? April 15th. When do you actually get your tax documents where you could start filing? January. I think they have to have them out to you no later than the end of February, but usually you start seeing them starting early in January. You'll get your, you all right? You get your W-2s in the mail? You look very confused. You all right? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. That was your listening face? Gotcha. All right. So a description of your marital and family status on the last day of the year, that is called your filing status. Now, all of you guys, when you're doing taxes, you're checking the single box, right? Okay. You have to indicate your filing status. That depends on how much taxes are taken out. Okay, so you have some options. Obviously, you guys are all filing single because you are unmarried taxpayer. If you are married, you have two choices. You can do married filing jointly. Maybe. Hello. There it goes. It's married people who fill out one tax return together, which is my husband and I, that's how we file, married filing jointly. You can do married filing separately. Married people file two separate returns. So if you do filing jointly, what they do is they take my income, my husband's income, and they add that together. So we get taxed on our income that's combined. If you do married filing separately, I get taxed on mine, he gets taxed on his. And we'll look at how they tax you on that today. But for us, it makes more sense with like exemptions, like we have kids and all of that, for we actually get more of a return back when we file together. Because you can actually, when you go through and file online, you can have it kind of figure it out both ways and see what the better option is. Okay, so for us, it always worked better to do filing jointly. And then head of household, it's unmarried taxpayers who support additional people. So if you're a single parent, you're going to be head of household because you have other people that you support. You have kids, right? Let's say your parents are older and you have to support your parents and take care of them, but you're not married, you'd be head of household. You have somebody else that you are supporting. Took in your niece, your nephew, whoever, head of household. Yeah. No, if you're married, it has to be either, yeah, it has to be one of these two. So if you're separated, I would probably do married filing separately. If you're not like living together anymore, but you're still married. Yeah, if you're legally still married, you have to choose married. Yeah. Part of it is also based on how much money you made. Typically, you guys don't make enough when you're 18, 17, 18 years old that you don't hit whatever that tax limit is, and you usually get everything back. But sometimes if you make a lot of money, then you could hit a point where you don't get it all back anymore. More than your age, it's based on how much money you make. So it should have been based on that. $21. We're fighting over pocket change. It could. All right, guys. Your annual tax changes as your blank changes. As your income changes. Very good. Your annual tax changes as your annual income changes. So if you make more one year, they're going to tax you more. If you make less, they're going to tax you less. No, they don't just do it the same, unfortunately. All right. So for right now, go ahead and sit your tax booklet off to the side. I have some tax tables up here on the screen and on your notes we can kind of look at, but we'll kind of come back to those in a little while. All right. So Ron is single. He's using an IRS tax form and calculates that his taxable income is $51,482. The instructions tell him to use the tax table to determine his taxes. How much does Ron owe in taxes? So let's kind of look through. Well, let's answer his part first. So Ron is single, and his income is $51,482. So looking at your table, you would have to go through. We'd find obviously the one where he's fitting, which is the $51,000. But if he's $482, we have to kind of look through here. Now take a look. It says if your taxable income is at least this first amount, but less than the second amount. Okay? So it's looking for a range. So 51,482 is going to fall in between here, right? Between the 51,450 and 51,500. Do you guys see where he's falling in between there? So then we have single, married filing jointly, married filing separately, head of household. Your tax is, this is where the tax stuff is. Okay, this is tax. So if this is where he is, and he said he was single, we'd come down. So his tax is $9,213. All right, so we're going to do a lot with taxes. You guys kind of looking and seeing the difference between the different types. Now take a look just out of curiosity. If this is all the money you made and you were married filing jointly, look at the taxes. It took a lot less tax out. Why? That's two people. If it's one person making this much, you can afford a little more taxes. If it's two people combined and that's all you make, you're not making much money. Okay, then they're going to take less taxes from you. All right, so determine the tax for each of the filing status taxable income amounts listed. So if you are head of household and make $51,779. Okay, can you look and see where that would fall? $51,779 should fall between the $750 and the $800 on there. And then how much tax? good. Because it was head of household, so we have to come down to that one, $8,006. Okay, how about married filing jointly, $51,223. So 51,223 is going to fall in here. Very good. Is it making sense how to read your tax tables? So you can see later on if I don't give you a picture, when you have to go to your booklet, you're going to have to kind of flip through and find the right table to look at. All right. Express the tax table line that would be used in compound inequality notation for a taxable income of $51,777. Okay. I'm going to show you what that's asking for, and then I'm going to show you what I'm okay with you writing. Okay? All right. So 51,777. So if I look, that's going to fall right here, right? So the fancy math words that it's giving you is looking for the 51,750 is less than or equal to X is less than 51,800. That's what it's asking for. It's called compound inequality notation. Those are inequalities, right? The less than symbols. And it's compound because there's two of them together. That's what it's asking for. Do I require that at this point? No, I don't. So if I ask a question like this, all I really care for you guys, it's between that and this. That's the range it falls in. That's all I care about. Just find the range. Yeah, I'm okay if you guys just list with a dash in between. You know what's in between here. It is. I'm just telling you what the fancy schmancy terms, what it was asking for. I don't require that, though. You can just tell me it fall in between here and here. We okay? Good. No? Not really? All right, now everybody pay attention because this is where people mess up. Given the filing status and the tax, identify the taxable income interval that was used to determine that tax. So now, if I'm single, $9,275. Did I only make $9,275? No, because that is the tax. So do you remember which part of the table is the tax? Your tax is. This is the tax on this side. So if I had $9,275, I'm looking for that in the tax portion. So what range of income did they have? Yes. That's what we're looking for. So that's probably the most common mistake students make because they don't read carefully enough. Where's your phone supposed to be? Yep, and where is it at right now? So put it away and pay attention. All right, so 51,700, 51,750. So next one, head of household, 8,019. Again, that is the tax. So I'm going to look over here, head of household for 8,019, which is way down there. Good. So you can tell roughly how much money they made. They were in that range for that tax to be that. Okay? So if they give you tax, you need to look on the right side. If they give you the income, it's on the left side. A little bit, but not terrible. All right. Maria and Don are married taxpayers filing a joint return. Their combined taxable income is $153,900. The IRS offers a tax schedule so that taxpayers can calculate their tax. Why would I have to go to a schedule as opposed to just the tax tables? I'm over 100,000. Okay, anytime you're over 100, I can't use the tables anymore. Right. So I want you to use the tax schedule below for married taxpayers. See, they have one for each, depending on where you're at, if you're married, single, whatever, so that you can calculate how much tax they had to pay. So, all right, so let's take a look here. It says, if your taxable income is. So this portion right here is income. They're giving you a range again, so I'm looking for in that range for the income. And then this is your tax. So this gives you tax. All right, so they made 153,900. So do you see where they fall? So it's going to fall right in here, right? That's what their 153,900 falls. It's in that range. Okay, so here's what we have to do. Now, I need to make sure we understand this here before I kind of flip it around and give you the tax as opposed to the income, just like I did on the tables. All right, so here it says the tax is, it's going to be 25,550 plus 28%. How do you write 28%? 28% of the amount over this. So how do I figure out how much over this they were? Yeah, I just subtract those, right? Okay, so I'm going to do the 153,900 minus 131,450. Now, most students do just fine here. It's when I flip it around the other way and I give you the tax that they kind of panic. But let's kind of break this down a little bit. Just like, because I know what's coming in the future. When you're figuring these out, it's always going to be like that percentage. Oops, I should probably do the right one, huh? Your percent is always your income minus that, right? So if it makes sense to you, that's how we can always write these. It's always going to be your income minus that amount. Seems like overkill at this point, but I know it's coming in the future. Okay, so can we figure out what this is? Can I type the whole thing in my calculator all at one time? All right, so how much tax am I going to have? 836. So I'm going to pay $31,836 in taxes. Does the government tax you on every single dollar you make? Or are there ways for them not to tax you on all of that? Besides the under the table and the immigrant stuff, legal ways. And there are, and we will look at that as this chapter progresses. Ways that they don't tax you on everything you make? Depending if you claim them or not. No. I'm talking legal ways, guys. That if the government knew, it'd be okay. We will talk as this chapter goes on with taxes. Like if you put money in your HSA account, which is like your health savings, money that you're using just towards like your health care, they won't tax you on that. They allow you to kind of take that money out of your income so they don't tax you. What do you mean advanced? Oh, that's weird. I've never heard of that before. Interesting. But just so you guys know, so there are ways to get the government to tax you less. Okay, and we'll talk about all that stuff. Okay. So for what taxable income would a taxpayer have to pay $61,229? So what did I just give you? I gave you the tax. So which side's tax, left or right? The right. So I'm looking for, this is the tax, I'm looking at this side right now. So I need you to understand, let's kind of come back a minute. I need you to understand what's going on here. So on this problem, if you look through kind of what's going on, depending on what you make, they're charging you like a set amount plus a percentage of anything else, right? So I'm guaranteed going to pay $25,550 plus whatever kind of a percentage of however much I made in there. Does that make sense? Like I'm going to hit a base and then they're going to add something to that. It's going to be at least this much and then they're going to add something to it. So when I'm looking here, I need to figure out where they fall. If they're being taxed $61,229, where does that fall? Why the $44,000? Very nice. Very nice. You guys got that. So it is going to fall right here. The other way to think about it is I need you to look for which is the closest without going over. Right? They're going to fall within this range because it's 61,000. The next one's too high, right? That's over what they paid. This one's going to be way too low. It's not going to get me up to 61,000. So this is the closest line without going over how much tax they said. Does that make sense? Closest without going over. Because it's going to be a base, they're going to add another percentage on top of that. So on the previous slide, I set all these up where this said income minus that, right? And we're going to set it up just like that again. So 44,828 plus 33%, so 0.33. Do I know the income? I do not. So that's going to be my x minus 200,300. What does all this equal? 61,229. So if I backtrack a sec, look at the one we just did. We knew the income, so we found where it fell. And then I just kind of plugged it in, right? That's 25,550 plus the 28%. I knew the income, so I plugged it in, gave me that. And what did that equal? It equaled the tax, which I solved that and found what it was. So this time I don't know the tax, or I don't know the income, but I know the tax. So you find on the tax side, closest without going over, what line it's in. I fill that in, and then this time, instead of the income, I don't know that. That's your x. There was the light bulb, and that equals the tax. I was waiting for that light bulb to go on. So now, how do I solve this? Yeah, let's distribute. So 44,828 plus 0.33x minus so 0.33 times that. So it's going to be 66,099. Okay, all I did at that point was I just distributed. Just trying to solve this thing for x, going back to your algebra days. So we distribute. What do you want to do next? Combine like terms. I'm just going to put my like terms together right here. So 44,828 minus 66,099. I get negative 21,271 plus 0.33x. Do you think that will always end up negative? Yeah, it's going to always be negative. Because how do I get rid of it? I'm going to add it then to the other side. Okay, so then we'll add the 21,271 to the other side. So 0.33x equals 82,500. And then how do we finish solving? Just divide 0.33. So how much money did they make? $250,000. How are we doing? That's as hard as it's going to be today. A little basic algebra. The hardest part, I don't think, is the solving. It's just knowing what line to pick and how to kind of set that up. So hopefully make sure you write down the income minus in that table. That's going to help you remember that. All right. Number 3, the IRS includes the tax schedule for information purposes only for taxable incomes over $100,000, right? So we can't use the tables anymore. I make too much, so it's going to move into the tables. Taxpayers must use the tax worksheet. Here is a portion of the worksheet for married taxpayers filing jointly. Calculate Maria and Don's tax using this worksheet. So, how much did Maria and Don make? This goes back to the previous example we did. They were over 100 because we set it up differently, right? So if you go back to example 2, example 2 is Maria and Don. Yep. So it says their combined taxable income was $153,900. That was the amount from example 2. So going back to that one, so we know how much money they made. The government tries to make this almost foolproof for people, dummy-proof. So this is their way of making this dummy-proof. So if I make $153,900, for those people who cannot understand the last problem, like example 2, where we just kind of found what line it was and filled it in, here's what else they give you. So where do they fall? Which line? The second one. Over 131, but not over 200. So they fall here. So enter that amount, so 153,900. Says to multiply that by 28%. Okay, 153,900 times 28%. You get 43,092. And it says subtraction amount. So actually, then if you look, it says subtract D from C. So then I'm going to subtract 11,256. And we get 31,836. They try to make it dummy proof. Did it work? Is it dummy proof? They try. Right? I think people get so freaked out on taxes when they're really, like, if you use like TurboTax and one of those programs online, like, they make it so easy for you. But I will tell you, like, I've always done my own taxes, and like I kind of understood some things about it. Then like once I started like teaching taxes, I'm like, oh my gosh, I totally understand now, like all the different things that like happened when I did my taxes. It makes more sense. You freak out a little bit. Yeah, no, I agree. It's a little overwhelming until you start actually looking at it. You're like, oh, it's not so bad. All right. Davita and John have a taxable income of $118,675. Use the married filing jointly worksheet to determine the amounts for columns A and C. What is their calculated tax? So $118,675. Where's that going to fall? The first one. All right, so enter this in, $118,675. Boys, knock it off. Okay, multiplication amount. So it says to multiply those together. So 118,675 times 25%. 29,668.75. And then the subtraction amount, so we subtract off that amount. So how much tax do they pay? $22,356.25. So if they give you the tax schedule because you make too much money, is it really that hard? No, it's really not that bad. The hardest part of today is just when I give you their tax and you have to work it backwards. But if you're okay with a little basic algebra, it's not bad. Questions on the taxes so far?